Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to bring another video, a book review, which has been a long time request from quite a lot of people. So it's not a new book. It's basically a new next iteration or the next book in the series which I have already reviewed. Today I want to talk about the Wheel of Time. Again, one of the most sorted out fantasy books. The book that I am going to review today is Wheel of Time: The Great Hunt. This is the second book of the series. I previously reviewed the first book, which is The Wheel of Time, The Eye of the World, which I can link in here. You go there and you can check out that video as well. So today I am going to look at the second book of the series, The Great Hunt. So without further ado, let's move on to the book, and there's a couple of information about the book which you already may know, and then we can move up to the story. So as you may already know, Wheel of Time is a series done by Robert Jordan, and which is now a major movie TV show as well, which is on Amazon Prime. So as I said, I reviewed the first book previously, and today I am going to review the second book, The Great Hunt. So this book is primarily closer to 670 pages long. It's a huge book, and at the same time I locally purchased it around 5,500 LKR. If you are purchasing it in a UK or somewhere, it's closer to £11, and this is actually published in 1991. This is a new print, but the original publication is on 1991. Okay, so if we move up to the story, as we already know about the series, I wanted to read this whole series in a continuous manner, and it has 14 books. This is the second book, which is going to be a huge undertaking, but I as of now, I do really like the story. So on this second book, if you remember, on the first book, I'll try to stay out of spoilers, especially for this book. But if you have not read the first book, I would say skip to the next chapter. I'm not going to use huge spoilers, but some of the things I may have to use. So if you are looking at the second book, if you remember, there are a couple of key characters in the book, which is Rand, Matt, Pierre and Egwene and Nynaeve, and there are a couple of others. Okay, but those are the main characters. Okay, now on the first book, the main character Rand actually confronted the darkness, or let's say the dark one, and he had a conclusion, or he had a fight, or I could say some kind of a confrontation at the end of the book, and it gave us some kind of a closure to that storyline. We were very much surprised. We have 14 series of books, 14 books in the series, but at the same time, on the first book itself, it had some kind of a closure. But from there, the story begins in, rather than concluding, the second book itself shows us there are so much into this story. Initially we thought whatever the conclusion that we saw in the end of the first book, immediately it's becoming apparent that it's not the end. Okay, actually it's the beginning. So in all of these books, as far I know, I have read only 2 books. In both of these 2 books, individually these books give some kind of a closure. Okay, the first book gave its own closure, and the second books again in a kind of a give its closure. So, but before going into the comments, let me come up with what is the story behind it. So, if you remember Rand, he, as I said, he confronted the Dark One in the end of the first book, and from there onwards, he's in kind of a denial. Of his responsibility. He's trying to become a character. Everyone is trying to push him into a character which is not ready. So the whole second book is about that struggle, how he struggled to become the character that everyone wants him to be. In a way, how he tries to ignore that, and at the same time, we have Matt, which has a, you may already know, he has a, I would say, sickness at the end of the first book because of a mystic dagger. I mean, that storyline goes on as well, and if you already know Pierre, he has a couple of abilities in the first book. I'm not going to say what if someone has not read the first book. So in Pierre, I mean, both Matt, his storyline about this dagger and his health, it moves forward as well. At the same time, Pierre and especially Igwin, which is the female character, main female character, Igwin has I would say, a dream of her, who she needs to become. So she starts that journey in this book. Okay, at the same time, as I said, Pierre, he is actually trying to figure out what are his abilities and how to control them. So in a way, this is kind of I mean, the first book was actually really it's the inception. This book, it's trying to become the first step towards a much larger story, which I really like. So I mean, that's it. But at the end of this book as well, there's a conclusion. So okay, one moment. I mean, in here, the book is named as The Great Hunt. Why it is named as Great Hunt? Because in here there's something called Horn of Valor. Horn of Valor. So what it basically is, it's a horn which comes from the old ages. I mean, thousands of years old, and there are so much of predictions, so much of history behind this horn, which basically says whoever plays or whoever performs this horn will get support from all the heroes who have died in from the beginning of time. But all these people who are going to support him, it's going to be, they will, of course, they will support whoever plays the horn. That's a different matter. But at the same time, all the heroes are going to be supporters of light, not in the darkness. Okay. So the Great Hunt is all about finding that horn. In a way, you find that in the first book itself. But I mean, there's a story emerging up how it's going into a different hand, and you are going around it and you are trying to find it and things like that. So in a way, in a summary, the story is superb. And let me go to my conclusions. Okay, so if I go to my comments, number one, the story is really good. Okay, I mean, I don't have to say over and over again, story is really good. And as on the first story itself, there are so much of characters involved. I mean, as I said in my first book review as well, I'm using a mobile application to figure out who are the characters as well. I mean, I can't remember 2000 plus characters, so that helps. I mean, if you are thinking about reading this book, that application is significantly, I would say, extremely recommended. And I have seen a trend in these two books which I have already read. I mean, in these two books, I mean, Robert Jordan he's not famous for summarization. I mean, his stories and explanations and descriptions are extremely long. Okay, so the 2/3 of the book on the second book, the first 2/3 of the book is, I would say, an extreme slow burner. Okay, so story was very slowly and characters being developed at the same time. I mean, this is same for the first book as well. So, but you need to push through that slow burn to get to the real good part. So I would say the 1/3 of the last part of the book, that was really quick. So I mean, that is it on the second book of the series. So the next book is definitely, I'm going to read the third book as well. I have already purchased it. I still have not got the book, so I can't start it. I'm waiting for that as well. The third book is called Dragon Reborn. So guys, that is it for today's video, and I hope you like it. I want you guys to read this book with me. So that is it. See you with another video. Have a nice day. See you.